My presentation will carry on or will build on what my colleagues have dealt with because I think the term assessment is very important, and I think it's a word that my colleagues have used because we are always assessing, in a process of assessing this project. This presentation is also I'm working on this project, the evaluation of the pre-service training in Tunisia. And the question I would like to ask today, and maybe is something that we can share, is what is a grading? And what is assessment? Is there a difference? So, do they correlate? What is the difference between the two terms? What do students need? Do they need to be assessed or to be graded? So, do we really need to grade or to assess? So we are torn between, the requirements of the system and the students' needs. They need grades. So also, how to make sure that learning has taken place by assessing or grading a given activity. Are we really sure that learning has taken place? That our students, have grasped the objectives of the course, or have we achieved the objectives set at the beginning of the semester? Also, the context. So we have to take into consideration the context in which this whole assessment process is taking place. So what are the requirements of the educational system? So what do learners need? Because I'm going to talk later on about this need of the learners. Teachers as evaluators or assessors are torn between the two, what the system requires and what the students need. Is the evaluation system that we use in our program, that is, as my colleague Yasmina has already talked about, a midterm exam and an end of term exam, are they really enough to gauge the learning of that learning has taken place? So also, to what extent does this reflect learning? How to promote high quality language teachers to ensure high quality learning? So within this, set of questions, so our program is dealt with, and we are working on evaluating this project. So do we teach to assess? Do we teach to give grades? So how to make sure that learners have grasped what we have in mind, what we have set at the beginning of the year or of the semester. So this leads me to a quick definition of the word grades, or the term grading and grades. So, which is usually defined as, grading is defined as a way for educators to evaluate. So again, we can question what is evaluation. So each individual student's performance and learning. So it's usually, it includes letters, grades, percentages, words, pass, fail, whatever. Also, grading is to evaluate individuals, students' learning and performance. So this, it aims at evaluating this performance. All the grades are sometimes treated as one way of measuring this learning. They are not always a reliable measure. So I may give, for example, 12 out of 20, this is not really a reliable, measure that the student has learned, something. Moreover, grading aims at measuring whether or not students are participating successfully in the classroom experience, because the grades are usually subcategorized into different items. So participation, oral participation, homework, activities, written exams, whatever. So this is the general issue, and students usually tend to know their grades, to have grades, because this is the tool that can guarantee their success to the following level. So sometimes, sir, if I get 12 in poetry, I may get 13 in general average. So let's just calculate. It's a matter of calculation, see. So assessment now, I think assessment is a much larger term. So, and assessment usually goes beyond grades. A teacher might, for example, look for past, grades and examine individual areas of strength, weaknesses of students. So assessment is much larger and much broader. So the goal of assessment is to improve student learning. Although grading may play a role in assessment, so assessment also involves many measures for or of student learning. So assessment goes beyond the grading by systematically, it's a systematic way of evaluating, examining patterns of student learning across courses and programs, and using this information maybe is helpful to improve the educational practices, programs, syllabus, etc. So that's although I'm not really happy with the term grading, and so that's one way of differentiating both terms. So also grading aims at or has three major functions. The first one is instructional planning. It helps, that is by informing teachers about students' levels in order to group them for instruction. For example, level A, level B, level C, etc. So usually through testing. Also, it may help by providing students with information about their progress, whether they have progressed or not. Also, it motivates students, so to encourage students to work harder through having an idea about their marks. Also, I'm questioning the notion of grading itself. So, as I said, two exams, so one midterm, one end of term exam in a semester. How helpful are these tests or exams, or these 2 marks? How helpful are they in gauging the extent of students' learning? Have they really learned something? Are they really now true learners? Have they grasped what I have in mind in terms of objectives? And the next point is that of course we have given criteria or rubric to follow in grading students' work, but grades are not really I'm sorry, sometimes we have different ideas. I have to go straight to the okay. So grades represent the extent to which a student has successfully met the faculty members' requirements and the experiences of a course. So, because many factors contribute to an assigned grade, it is almost impossible to make inferences about what a student knows or how can do by only looking at the grades for a course. This is what learners don't believe in. They need grades just to pass or to succeed. The course content also for any given subject may vary from faculty members teaching the same course. So not necessarily that you are with instructor A, you have the same mark when you are with instructor B. So grades vary from one teacher to another. So decisions about course content are constrained by several factors as well. So the amount of time the teacher has to deliver the course, 1 hour, 2 hours, the knowledge and skills that students bring to the course. So this is the background of students. Decisions may also vary with the individual teacher's beliefs. So I may focus on a given point that my colleague doesn't believe it's very important to stop at. So, like for example, concepts, textbook chosen, the teacher's expertise and interest. So this variation in factors or in the teacher's background may affect the grades. Another reason why grades do not represent adequate information for program assessment is that the grading policy in any course is dependent on the individual teacher, as I said. This is generally true when there are multiple sections of the same course with the common exams. So the problem when we deal with one common exam by the end of the semester. So teachers do not have the same belief, they don't have the same interest, they don't have the same objectives. So and this will affect the notion of grading. Grades will continue to be an important part of education and should be understood for what they represent. So it's important to remember that the focus is not a score or grade as students usually look for, but the student knowledge or skill is represented by that score or grade. So usually grades do not, for me, they do not represent really the extent to which students have learned something. So assessment maybe is very systematic, maybe is a larger one, maybe it takes time to assess students. This is maybe the major difference between them. So our program or our educational system, does it focus on grades or does it focus on assessment? So that's the question that we have to tap. That's the question that we have to work on. So we have to differentiate between the two. We have to have a clear vision of either to give importance to grades or to assessment. And maybe this is a problem when we teach literature, as my colleague mentioned earlier. So in literature is usually treated by students as something that is a hard nut to crack. It's not easy to understand literature. And that's why grades are usually below the expectations of the teachers and students themselves. So what is the way out? What to do? Maybe this is a general context of, and that's why maybe most students tend to prefer scientific subjects, mathematics, science, technology, ICT, and not humanities, as my friend said. So this is the general context. These are my thoughts really about this project, because we are in the process of evaluating. It's just my questions may lead us to work much harder on the notions of grading and assessment. And that's all. Okay.
Thank you very much.